Just how prepared have Arlington town officials been in ensuring residents are safe during this pandemic, now entering its third year on our shores? And what happens as we get closer to the holidays when traveling is reaching and at times even surpassing pre-pandemic levels? We talked to the town manager. A very popular upscale Arlington restaurant is closing up for good December the 16th, and the owners have a very heartfelt message for their patrons. 80 years ago this week, the course of world history drastically changed as the United States entered the Second World War. Tonight, an exclusive interview as the town's Veteran Services Director reflects on the greatest generation. What's currently playing at the Regent this holiday season? A one-man show. My mother's Italian, my father's Jewish, and I'm home for the holidays. The therapy continues. We'll talk to the star of the show. ACMi News starts right now.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to, giving you stories that count from people who care, dedicated, determined, dependable. This is ACMi News.
In the midst of the busiest travel holiday season of the year, everyone is holding their collective breath as COVID-19 is about to embark on year number 3 of this pandemic. Hello, I'm Lucas Sickner.
And I'm Nicole Garay. With the Omicron variant now on our shores, the stakes have gotten that much higher. Arlington's town manager says that the town has done all it can to keep its residents safe and healthy. According to town statistics, out of nearly 46,000 residents, 77% have been fully vaccinated.
I think at this point, we are hopefully in a fairly good position since we've had protective measures in place in Arlington already. We still have a mask mandate in place. We're certainly requiring masks to be worn in town hall. So I think it remains to be seen whether further measures need to be taken. But I think we're starting at a good starting point, given the measures we have in place. It seems to me, from what I read, and I've always given the caveat that I'm not a scientist or an epidemiologist, it seems to me, though, from what I read, that if you're able to get your booster, get out there and get that booster. That seems to be a good way to at least try to protect yourself from the dangers this variant might pose. It seems unclear right now whether or not, or I should say how successful the existing vaccines will be against this variant. But again, the literature I've read suggests there's no harm in getting that booster to try to protect yourself as best possible. So we're watching it, we're reading, we're trying to learn as much as we can. But I think I would say, unfortunately, there will likely be more to come on this variant and how we will be reacting.
According to the town website, at last check, there are currently 254 probable cases of COVID in Arlington.
State Senator Sidney Freeman weighs in on the recent passage of the Mental Health ABC Act in the state Senate. The ABC, or Addressing Barriers to Care Act, passed in mid-November and is comprehensive legislation to significantly reform the way mental health concerns are handled in the Bay State. This act recognizes that mental health is as important as physical health and should be treated as such.
It is a huge step forward in ensuring that mental health is treated like any physical condition, any other healthcare issue, which it is. And I am exceedingly proud of this bill and believe that it's not going to change everything overnight. What it's going to do is create a very, very strong foundation and put the infrastructure in place that's going to allow us to really deliver healthcare, mental health care the way that we need to.
And the fact that we're entering now the year number 2 of the COVID crisis, this couldn't come at a better time.
Couldn't come at a better time. It's so necessary. You know, I think COVID has certainly exacerbated the issues, but those issues have been there for a long time, and we've chosen to either ignore them or criminalize them. And this is really going to be a step to changing that.
Having passed the Senate, the Mental Health ABC Act now goes to the House of Representatives for consideration.
Last week, we told you about another prominent Arlington restaurant closing its doors. Twyrl Pasta Bistro at 315 Broadway will be shuttering for good on December 16th. The owners decided not to renew their lease, this according to the restaurant website. They say many factors help shape this decision, none more challenging than the breakdown of the supply chain. The owners say this has caused the cost of goods and services to soar making the prospect of committing to a long-term lease far too great a risk in the face of future economic instability. ACMi News caught up with Twyrl's owners, who say they'd like to thank their customers for supporting Twyrl over the years, and especially through these difficult last few months.
On our website, we posted that the supply chain was one of many reasons that led to this decision. The supply chain certainly is a big part of it because it affects our cost of goods, and Anka could probably speak more accurately to that and what it entails.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that our food costs have almost doubled over the last 2 years. And, you know, there's no way you can raise the prices enough to account for that. And we don't want to lower our quality by buying inferior products. You know, along with the frustration of not always being able to get the products that you want and having to go from place to place to place to try to find them. It's definitely been frustrating.
Since we made the announcement, there have been hundreds of people, literally hundreds of people calling, just stopping by, coming in for takeout, coming in to dine in, and they're all familiar faces. And it's touching, for one thing, when you have so many people who come in to express their gratitude to you, whereas it's really the other way around. I mean, we have such gratitude for our loyal patrons.
Anka says she'll be returning to her passion for cancer research. Chris, meantime, says he may be back soon in a business similar to Twyrl Pasta Bistro.
You have a chance to weigh in on the direction Arlington will take when it comes to housing in the future. The town's draft housing plan is now available for public review and comment. The 5-year plan, which covers 2022 to 2027, replaces the town's current housing production plan, which will expire later this month. The plan outlines specific ways that Arlington can lead on providing housing options for a range of people. It also includes affordable housing goals and several strategies for how to achieve those goals through policy and zoning changes, new programs, and funding sources.
It is a very long document, so please feel free to print it, take it home, read it, and you can look at the housing needs assessment, which describes some of the issues that people in Arlington and beyond face trying to find access to housing here in Arlington. And it talks about all of the potential goals and strategies that this community can use in order to create some really excellent affordable housing for people really in need. So I'm looking forward to people's comments, and the meeting that we are planning to have on December 16th with the Arlington Redevelopment Board is going to be the meeting where they're going to talk about the draft housing plan, review it, and eventually they will adopt it before the Select Board does the same. So I'm really looking forward to people's input, and it's been a long process.
So before it goes to the Select Board, there may be a few more tweaks to it?
There will definitely be more tweaks to it where, you know, depending upon people's feedback and input, we are looking specifically for people to convey to us their priorities, where they think there might be some priority issues, things we might have missed, but also the things that are in the plan, their opinions about what could be prioritized. It is a 5-year plan. So some things might take a little bit longer to achieve than others, but it helps to understand what the community feels is a really important priority.
The draft housing plan will be presented to the Arlington Redevelopment Board on December 16th.
80 years ago this week, world history turned upside down. On December 7, 1941, the Japanese Empire attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, by sea and air. President Franklin D. Roosevelt called it a date which will live in infamy. The USA was suddenly thrust into the Second World War. ACMi News Director Jeff Barnd talked to Jeff Chungalo, Arlington's Director of Veteran Services, about that day of infamy and how it changed the course of world history.
On December 7, 1941, Japan, like its infamous Axis partners, struck first and declared war afterwards. Costly to our Navy was the loss of war vessels, airplanes, and equipment, but more costly to Japan was the effectiveness of its foul attack in immediately unifying America in its determination to fight and win the war thrust upon it, and to win the peace that will follow.
A lot of those veterans, they're gone now. So how important is it for the following generations to keep this day dear and near to our hearts?
That's one of the things that I strive to do here in my position is to keep educating our younger generations on the importance of our history. And you were correct in our previous conversations about, sometimes Americans nowadays have short-term memory. And you could see that after 9/11. There were, a run of American flags. You couldn't find them anyplace. Everybody in your neighborhood had an American flag. And then, a month or two later, that kind of fizzled out. But we had untold number of dead. There were reports of approximately 70 million worldwide that died as a result of conflicts during World War II.
The once mighty Arizona now rests on Pearl Harbor's muddy bottom, a pitiful relic of its former self, a grim monument to the treachery of Japan.
We also have to remember the huge injustice to our Jewish members with the loss of 6 million Jewish families during the Holocaust. And then as well on our home front, which I don't think we've really come to terms with fully yet, is the Japanese American internment camps. So there were approximately 120,000 families that were corralled up and held in internment camps throughout World War II, just for their affiliation.
Yeah, that seems to be a blot on FDR's record. One of his darker moments were the Japanese internment camps on the West Coast. Now, before December 7th, we were a pretty divided nation. You had people who said we have to get into the European theater and get rid of the Third Reich. You had the isolationists during the Great Depression. So, it wasn't unified in the 30s during the Great Depression. However, after December 7th, this country really came together in not only the European theater, obviously, but the Pacific theater, and also stateside. You had a lot of companies doing the three shifts. You had Rosie the Riveter. You had women working in factories at all hours of the day. And that's just something we haven't seen in this country since.
It's surprising that we were fighting two wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. And really pretty much, unless you knew a family member that was serving, or a relative, friend, for the most part, people didn't really have that connection with a military family. So people could go about their day-to-day activities, go to Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, get their coffee, and there was no real sense of sacrifice like you saw in the World War II era.
You're well aware that this generation has been known as the greatest generation. Do you feel as though that's hyperbole? Every generation has their testing periods, but these people went through the Great Depression and then went right from the Great Depression to a horrific war, one of the worst wars in human history. In your estimation, are they the greatest generation?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree.
There's everybody says, well, without that generation, we could be speaking German or Japanese. And that really, I believe that would be the case. They sacrificed, everyone sacrificed. It was, around the world. And there was just so much sacrifice and willingness to serve and support the mission, which we've never seen since then.
Jeff Chungalo says when our men and women came back from that horrific conflict, many suffered from what was then known as shell shock. It's hard to believe that 41 years ago, December 8, 1980, the founder of the Beatles, John Lennon, was gunned down and murdered in New York City at the Dakota Building in New York City's Upper West Side. Arlington's Regent Theatre has staged numerous Beatles shows through the years. The Regent's owner, Leland Stein, says 41 years after that awful day and nearly 60 years after the Beatles were introduced to the U.S., the music clearly has not died.
I guess folks of our age still remember it well, even though it's over 40 years ago now. And, we do so many shows here at the Regent, nostalgia shows, but I guess you'd call them tribute shows and events, and so many of them incorporate the music of John Lennon and the Beatles. And in fact, we just had one this past weekend, which was a Christmas-focused event with Beatles historian Chachi Lapret and Beatles film archivist Eric Taros. And one of the things they showed was a never-before-seen video of Happy Christmas, War is Over. And it was with the Harlem Community Choir singing, and it just was really remarkable how timeless it was, and bittersweet, very bittersweet. The Beatles did so much in a compact time, less than 10 years, and their evolvement over that period was really remarkable, like a lifetime. And I think it's just, what can you say? It's like magic. It's magic, and it's just one of those things like the best classical musicians, Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, it still feels like life. It still feels relevant, vital, and it maintains the interest of humans all this time later.
Stein says the Beatles' music is undoubtedly intergenerational now, and it's highly likely their music will be listened to, studied, and dissected for centuries to come. A splendid time is still guaranteed for all.
Most artists will use paint, plaster of Paris, or other traditional means to create their unique works of art. But one area artist is breaking with tradition and using all kinds of ephemera to build art that is both whimsical and dimensional. Claire Kashuck is staging an art exhibit at the Cutter Gallery at 611 Mass Avenue this Sunday, December 12th, and Saturday, December 18th. The exhibit runs through the end of January. ACMi's news director, Jeff Barnd, talked to Claire about her undying passion for art.
We were talking before the Zoom meeting, a lot of artists use oils, watercolors, gouache. You use items that a lot of people would discard.
I use everything. Visually, I seem to like the look of little things, and they appeal to me, and then I put them together to become a whole, and it's very intuitive. I retired about 10 years ago, and my goal was to learn yoga, which I did, and to learn art, to take some art classes. Started with drawing, and then mixed media really was attractive to me. I've always liked to put little things together that nobody would expect belong together. It was just fun. And the freedom of it is what really attracts me. So, and there's no rules. It's just all very intuitive.
How important is it to buy local? We're now in the second year, about to embark on the third year of this pandemic. How important is it for people to say, enough of the box stores, let's go and buy local and help out our own community?
Of course, you want to help out your fellow citizen. You want to be, you want to make the community strong, and art is one element that makes the community strong. So if you're supporting artists who make handmade goods, and then the artists are able to give back to the community, so much the better. So yeah, the personal aspect of it is very therapeutic, I think.
Claire's mixed media creations will be available for purchase. Some are wall hangings, others, like unique books and birds, will be available as holiday gifts. Claire is also planning Meet the Artist hours in December and January. For more information, just email claire@ckashuck@aol.com. Still have yet to complete or even start your holiday shopping? Arlington has made it easier than ever. Just stop by Uncle Sam Plaza in Arlington to purchase your holiday trinkets. From December 10th through the 15th, you'll find Suchi Mumford. Suchi's running a pop-up shop at the plaza for her business known as Marigold Bazaar at the Visitor Center in Uncle Sam Plaza. Suchi is selling everything from textiles to other home goods, just in time for the holidays. These pop-ups are set up with the town's blessing, all in an effort to promote area retailers, to introduce their small business to Arlington's residents and visitors. This unique market began running last month and will go right up to Christmas Eve.
You said that COVID pretty much drove you to do this. which brings out a lot of creativity in a lot of people. And obviously you found a positive way to vent in the last 2 years.
I think so, yeah. I mean, a lot of businesses have grown out of this pandemic. I think people maybe had the time to do it. This is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. I've come from India, I've traveled to India, I work in the arts, and I just wanted to bring that all together. So I found artists that are making things, and actually artists that weren't working during the pandemic. And I wanted to work with them and support them. So these are all things that were made during the pandemic by artists in their home studios in India. I kind of started with what I loved and also what my friends, what my partners could make. So we started with block print napkins because I love the process of block printing. It is an exercise of taking wooden blocks, carving them, stamping them in ink, and pressing them on cotton fabric. And it takes time, it takes precision, and they can only be done during parts of the year in India, not during the rainy season. So it's a real art form and it's dying. So I wanted to really focus on that. So I started with napkins, a variety of colors. It's been interesting to see what people like. I went also with wooden cutting cheese boards because I use them a lot. They were hand painted by artists and I liked that too. And slowly I'm sort of exploring both new things that I think people will like, but also that my partners can make. So I've got block print travel cases, and I also have some tunics and tops, things that I like to wear, casual, easy to throw on.
Now you're going to be here at Uncle Sam Plaza until what date and what times?
I will be here, today's Friday, I will be here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, not on Monday, I'm going to take the day off, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But you can go to my website, marigoldbazaar.com, and you can see the hours there.
The goal of the pop-up program is to show new entrepreneurs all that Arlington has to offer for their business, with the potential to fill one of the vacant commercial spaces in town. What's happening with Arlington High School students this week? We return to our Studio B at Arlington High School for this week's Ponderscope with Sol Yadowski.
Hi, and welcome back to this week's Ponderscope. The AHS Department of Performing Arts is delighted to present its annual winter concert on Friday, December 17th and Saturday, December 18th, both at 7 o'clock p.m. in person at the Lowy Auditorium. Use the link below to reserve a seat. Submissions close December 18 at 5 o'clock p.m. For the safety of the community and the performers, seats will be limited to 400 a concert. The seats are available on a first-come and first-served basis, so book quickly. For questions, please feel free to contact Bill Papazis, Director of Performing Arts at wpapazis@arlington.k12.ma.us. In other news, the Class of 2025 merchandise has been released as a fundraiser effort by the Class of 2025 Student Council. Hoodies cost $35 and sweatshirts cost $20. You can use the online link emailed to you to purchase the apparel, or you can email Dr. Janger to discuss other purchasing options. The merchandise will be available for pickup in room 436 during X Block on January 11th. And finally, here's your reminder to fill out this month's Citizen of the Month form, as well as get COVID tested. COVID testing is mandatory for all athletes participating in the winter sports season and is highly recommended for all of their students as well. I'm Sol Yadowski, and this has been the Ponderscope.
The Arlington Boys and Girls Club is smack dab in the middle of selling its Christmas trees and wreaths at its location at 60 Pond Lane. Trees and wreaths of all shapes and sizes are now on sale from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Monday through Thursdays, then all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. ACMi News was told a new shipment just came into the Boys and Girls Club, and they will be on sale until the club runs out of its stock. And that is likely to be sometime this week. So, if you're looking for that perfect Christmas centerpiece that clearly outdoes the Charlie Brown Christmas tree, trees that keep their needles instead of having them drop to the floor all dried up and messy, and you wish to help in a great cause, go to 60 Pond Lane. Not only will the wreaths and lush trees get you into the spirit of the holidays, the evergreen aroma wafting in the cold December air here is sure to convert the most hardened of Scroogian hearts. Trust us, your heart will grow 3 sizes after you've made the Boys and Girls Club one of your holiday stops.
There's a holiday comedy coming to the Regent Theatre on Medford Street, and it's sure to get you into the spirit. And it's something in which we all can relate. It's called My Mother's Italian, My Father's Jewish, and I'm home for the holidays, and the therapy continues. Of course, it's a time of peace, a time of joy, a time of remembering why you left home in the first place. You'll catch a little Alan King here, a pinch of Seinfeld there, with a slice of Don Rickles, Billy Crystal, and even George Carlin thrown in.
My mother's Italian, my father is Jewish, and I'm home for the holidays. The therapy continues. Tell us about it.
Well, the original show is called My Mother's Italian, My Father's Jewish, and I'm in Therapy. This is a continuation of the franchise where Steve, same character, same Steve, same nuts, same time in therapy, but now he's stuck at the airport trying to get to his parents in Miami. And he's stuck at Atlanta Hartfield. So all the people that loved My Mother's Italian, My Father's Jewish, and I'm in Therapy that I've done time and time again over the years here at the wonderful Regent Theatre in Arlington, Mass., we're now bringing back the holiday version of the show.
This is something that everybody can relate to. The holidays, people can't wait for December the 26th.
Yeah, because it's stressful.
It is.
It's like we're family, and when you're family, it's even more stressful. It's dysfunctional. And he's still dealing with his parents on the phone. They're deaf. He's stuck at the airport. So again, his therapist is not around, so he's talking to the audience as his therapist. He's venting, and no one vents better than Steve Solomon, the character that I play, me being Peter Fogel playing Steve. So it's just a continuation of different material, different show. It's just we're now stuck at the airport, and everyone can relate to being stuck at the airport.
Oh, heck yeah, especially Atlanta.
And I do a whole bit on Atlanta Hartfield Airport. It's hell.
It's its own state.
It's the hub of hell. Yeah, it's its own state. It's basically, and I talk about how you have to walk. You're just constantly walking, and you go, you know what? I need a vacation from my vacation. That's basically the holidays, and that's what I bring to the show.
My Mother's Italian, My Father's Jewish, and I'm Home for the Holidays will play at the Regent Theatre through December 19th. For more information, just call the Regent Theatre at 781-646-4849.
That will do it for this week's edition of ACMi News. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Nicole Garay.
And I'm Lucas Sickner. We leave you tonight with the sights of the winter-themed window paintings in Arlington Heights storefronts. These beautiful works of art will be on display until mid-January. Courtesy of the Arlington Heights Community Association, the Arlington Chamber of Commerce, and Arlington Commission for Arts and Culture.
And ACMi's Christmas tree lighting and sing-along is set for Saturday, December 11th at 5 p.m. We'll have hot cider and cookies too. We'll see you at our Studio A location at 85 Park Avenue. Happy holidays, everyone. Have a great week.
We'll see you later.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMi Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.